Irrigation, a technological innovation dating back thousands of years. Today, it helps form the basis of Washington's state economy. Without irrigation, central Washington would be dry, unproductive land. Agricultural products are one of Washington's biggest exports. The farms of central Washington grow wheat, potatoes, beets, carrots, grapes, onions, and apples. Irrigation is a necessity. Irrigation is also becoming the basis for a new economy at Seattle City Light. What has helped people and the economy of Washington State survive will now help the city of Seattle become more energy independent. In 1978, the three Columbia Basin irrigation districts, East, Quincy, and South, presented to the Washington State Legislature the idea of using irrigation flow to generate electricity. The result was historic legislation granting all state irrigation districts this authority to develop hydroelectric projects using existing irrigation systems. This technological ingenuity dates back to the 1930s when the master planners of the Columbia Basin project began construction of the Grand Coulee Dam. The dam and its miles of canals accomplished its goal. A region once known mostly for heat, wheat, and rattlesnakes became a highly productive agricultural area. The benefits of this project are still here today.
Well, I come here from eastern Oregon. I'd been farming there for a good many years, and I came here in 1955 and bought one of these sand hills out here and started developing it.
Back in the early 50s, all it was sagebrush, cheatgrass, a little bit of dryland wheat, and that was about it. And now with the coming of water, why, it's prospered. It's just a lot nicer area to be in.
The water came, and we started planting crops, leveling, and putting irrigation system, houses. We got a farm finally.
How do I use irrigation? That's just like how do you use blood. It's the life substance of the soil here on this side of the mountain. If you didn't, you wouldn't have anything. Hey, the jackrabbits had to carry canteens to get across this.
Currently, the project provides water to approximately 550,000 acres of irrigable land and has the potential to irrigate another 500,000 acres. And now, the irrigation districts that make up the project have the authority to generate electricity. In 1977, Seattle City Light and Tacoma City Light were approached by the South Columbia Basin Irrigation District to help develop 6 small hydro projects. At the time, both utilities were concerned about resolving a projected load resource imbalance. In July of 1978, a letter of intent was sent from the mayor of Seattle to the district, stating Seattle's willingness to enter into a partnership agreement for the first project, PEC 22.7, later renamed Russell D. Smith. This letter was but a small step toward the realization of energy independence. As a result of extensive negotiations, historic legislation, and the signing of the power purchase and sales agreements in May 1980, the cities of Seattle, Tacoma, and the 3 Columbia Basin irrigation districts have entered into a series of historic contracts.
Well, for the 40 years of the contract, we need to pay all of the costs, which is debt service, operation and maintenance, and any other costs, incidental costs that may come along, insurance type costs and those sort of things. The debt service, of course, is made up of the payment of the principal plus the interest, which will go over about 15 years of life of the contract, after which those costs are retired. And then the only thing that we're looking at is the operation and maintenance, which is considerably lower costs than the debt amortization costs. And at that point, the power will be considerably cheaper to the utility.
I'm really pleased to have had an opportunity to work in this power program, because it's unique in that it's something that's been thought of and implemented by a group of small organizations, three 3 irrigation districts and a couple of city utility departments have basically put the whole program together and made it go. It's going to have benefits to our water users in terms of income. It's going to have benefits to the utility users in the cities because they're going to have an additional source of energy.
Water, initially held back by the Grand Coulee Dam, travels through a series of lakes, tunnels, major canals, and reservoirs. The Columbia Basin project covers an area roughly 125 miles from north to south and 60 miles from east to west. The land gradually slopes to the south, allowing the water to be distributed by gravity over 300 miles of major canals. It is along these canals that the sites of the district's hydro projects can be found. 3 of the hydroelectric projects have been completed. Their output is now part of the Seattle City Light resource mix. 2 projects are in the process of construction, and the 6th is in the design phase. When completed, the projects will provide a total of approximately 54 megawatts of average energy and 136 megawatts of capacity, at least half of which will be purchased by Seattle. Power will be generated from March to October when water is being delivered to the farmers for their crops. The Russell D. Smith project was the first to be built and completed, coming online in September 1982. It is located at an existing canal check structure at mile 22.7 on the Potholes East Canal. This project takes advantage of that check structure. The discharge water descends through a concrete-lined chute dropping approximately 52 feet. The plant consists of inlet works, a penstock, a powerhouse with a hydraulic turbine and generator, an outlet works, a switchyard, and a parking lot. The plant has a capacity rating of 6.1 megawatts and an estimated annual output of 24,700 megawatt hours. The second plant to be built was EBC 4.6. It is located at mile 4.6 of the Eltopia Branch Canal, about 18 miles north of the Tri-Cities area. This project uses a narrow concrete chute that carries water through a 128-foot elevation drop. While the flow rate through this structure is relatively low, the high effective head made the site favorable for hydroelectric development. The plant consists of the approach canal, intake structure, penstock, powerhouse, tail race, switchyard, and related facilities. The turbine generator has an installed capacity of 2.2 megawatts and an estimated average annual output of 8,400 megawatt hours. Commercial operation began on May 1st, 1983. The third project, which started generating test power in 1984, is at Summer Falls. It is located 8 miles south of Coulee City and is part of the main canal that forms the upstream portion of the entire Columbia Basin irrigation system. The falls were created when the initial irrigation system began operation. The hydroelectric project was designed to harness the energy that formerly went over the falls unutilized. The water is diverted from above the falls into an open canal and through a power tunnel to 2 water turbines driving synchronous generators. The power plant, rated at 92 megawatts, is by far the largest of the projects. The plant itself is located behind a bluff east of the falls, hidden from view, and has a step-up transformer substation which allows interconnection with a Washington water power transmission line. The estimated annual power production is 326,000 megawatt hours. This project has had some additional concerns because of the existing recreational area. Considerable care was taken in the design and construction of the power plant to lessen the impact to the recreational value. Besides hiding the power plant behind the bluff, all of the project structures have been designed to blend in with the color and reflectivity of the surrounding area. The fourth project is PEC 66. It is located at the end of the Potholes East Canal, 66 miles from the headworks. This project is similar to EBC 4.6 in configuration. PEC 66 uses an effective head of about 325 feet, consisting of an approach canal, intake structure, penstock, powerhouse, tail race, switchyard, and related facilities. The plant is rated at 2.4 megawatt capacity, generating an estimated annual energy output of 11,200 megawatt hours. Commercial operation is expected in 1985. Main Canal Headworks is the fifth hydro project currently under construction. The headworks is really the beginning of the Columbia Irrigation project located at Dry Falls Dam, which impounds the south end of Banks Lake. The headwater for the power plant is a 27-mile-long reservoir, which serves to equalize water pumped from Grand Coulee and stored in Banks Lake. The effective head for the plant varies from 27 to 54 feet. When completed, there will be an approach channel through Dry Falls Dam leading to an integral intake powerhouse, which will include one bulb-type turbine, a tail race to return the irrigation water to Main Canal, a switchyard, and a 600-foot transmission line. The estimated average annual energy potential is 86,000 megawatt hours, with an installed capacity of 26 megawatts. Main Canal Headworks is scheduled to be online in 1986. This project, like Summer Falls, has responded to the recreational needs of the area. The district has built a fishing wharf in Banks Lake with materials that were excavated during the powerhouse construction. The local community has welcomed the pier as Banks Lake is a popular fishing hole. The sixth project is PEC Headworks. O'Sullivan Dam is the site of this plant, at the headworks of the Potholes East Canal. The proposed power plant is rated at 7.5 megawatts and would produce an estimated 24,200 megawatt hours of power annually. All six projects are in line with Seattle energy policies. They are making use of a renewable resource and have received declarations of non-significant environmental impact.
Well, the longer you're involved with them, the more excited you can get about them. It's a tremendous way of generating electricity without getting involved in the ecology end of things. We're not altering the ecology whatsoever. Everything's still basically the same as it was before we moved in.
A 12-member power steering committee is the main vehicle for Seattle's and Tacoma's involvement with the projects. This committee oversees each of the 6 project contracts. The committee has equal representation from both the power sellers and purchasers.
Well, the Power Steering Committee is made up of 2 members from each of the districts, plus 3 members from each of Seattle and Tacoma. And it's just as the name implies, it's a steering committee to guide the South Irrigation District in their decisions and deliberations on the different power issues.
Though the irrigation districts have the legal authority to build the plants, Seattle has a substantial amount of control over the development and operation of them. The Washington State Supreme Court ruled that municipal utilities must maintain a level of control over the development of projects using take-and-pay power development contracts.
A take-or-pay contract for the SCIBID projects says, in essence, that Seattle and Tacoma guarantee to pay whatever the costs are on an annual basis, whether the projects produce power or not. And the reason that this is required is that the irrigation districts themselves are not capable of borrowing the money to build the projects without having a guaranteed power sale. Without the guaranteed power sale, the bondholders will not issue money. So what we in essence say is that we will pay all the costs, but for that we get all of the power, split equally between Seattle and Tacoma. We also have controls built within the power sales contract to ensure the 2 cities that the irrigation districts themselves are designing the projects, constructing them, and operating them the way we would do it if we actually directly owned them ourselves.
The irrigation districts here have the advantage in these 6 plants that they're constructing for the cities, that we have the advantage of developing 150 megawatts of energy and creating a $150 million plant, or plants, as you might want to say, without investing
hardly any money, a very, very minute sum of money. The districts will have got a $150 million investment through these revenue bonds of, it's just a great thing for our farmers. And I think it'll be a great thing for the power users in Seattle to have this firm energy.
Our risks, by virtue of the way that we wrote the power sales contracts, basically are no different than they would be if we had physically built the projects ourselves.
Getting the power to Seattle involves miles of transmission lines and several patterns of interconnections. The project sites are not only remote and scattered, but are both high and low voltage projects. According to the power sales contracts, the cities are responsible for power transmission to their service territories. For all the plants, short new sections of power line were built from the powerhouse to the nearest existing lines. From there, the project output is wheeled to the nearest substation. The cities have signed separate contracts for the operation and maintenance of transmission lines between the powerhouses and substations. Different contracts between the cities and BPA transmit the power from there to Puget Sound. The high voltage projects, Summer Falls and Main Canal, interconnect with facilities belonging to Washington Water Power of Spokane, which in turn carry the power to interconnection points owned by the Bonneville Power Administration. The low voltage projects, Russell D. Smith, PEC 66, EBC 4.6, and Headworks, use existing irrigation power distribution lines. The irrigation control station in Ephrata, Washington will be the monitoring site of the plant's operation, in addition to the power control centers of both Seattle and Tacoma. Hydroelectric projects like these are exceptional opportunities for the city of Seattle. The city's involvement in these small hydro projects will offer the ratepayers relatively low-cost, environmentally benign power over a 40-year period. In this era of uncertainty about future energy sources, Seattle has been both innovative and assertive in facing the challenge of reaching energy independence.
The primary purpose for the Columbia Basin project is a irrigation project to irrigate lands for farming purposes, but it also has secondary benefits such as power production, fish and wildlife recreation, providing employment, and things like that. And so basically the power production portion of it is just one of the benefits that it's available in the process of using the water.
We have done something that has been copied in many other areas in the country. I think both Seattle and Tacoma can be more than slightly proud of the job that we did, considering that we were a prototype in this particular endeavor.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful thing. You know, it's like I say, it's going to save us money, and it's it's an energy source that was going to waste, and why not be using it? It's a real opportunity.
The basin has been good to me, and I just want to try to return part of it. And I see one of those areas is with small hydro development.
I say it's a good cooperative effort from the east and the west side.
Proud. Let's just say that. It's one word, proud. I'm proud of what we've done. Real proud.